So, during the COVID lockdown years, we had to find things to entertain ourselves, and one person took to sharing childhood videos and to creating funny content, which was theatre related, to keep the spirits alive for the theatre community. And out of this came a show titled My Sons Are Queer, But What Can You Do? And it's had this tremendous life, starting at London's Fringe scene, heading to Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and also having a West End run at the Garrick Theatre. But it is getting a second West End run at the Ambassadors Theatre, running until the 18th of March. And here to talk all about this incredible show is the incredible Rob Madge. How are you?
Incredible, apparently. Yeah, really well, thanks, Reese.
Incredible is the word we're going to use, because you just are. There's no other word that can describe you other than incredible.
That's
So,
lovely.
talk to us about the show. What is the story?
I put on lots of shows in my house when I was a child and forced my dad to get involved. And he played, I think he was the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, and to name an example. Anyway, I put on a Disney parade in my hall when I was about 12, and now that I'm 26, the only logical thing to do is to recreate that Disney parade that I put on when I was 12. So we're going to have another go at this Disney parade that I put on, and to do that, we're going to look through all the archives of my old home video performances in my living room and work out how best to put on a show in your house.
It's so wonderful. It's just so heartwarming, this show as well. And you mentioned, your dad there and your family, your mum and your dad. Talk to us about them and how they've reacted to the show.
Well, they're just the most, not to toot their horns too much because I do that enough in the show, but they are brilliant. They're just brilliant people. They've never been in the theatre industry at all, and then I came along and told them that this is what I want to do, and they've always just been there for me to support me in whatever capacity that might be, and they're just the best. And now with this show, that I mean, they're sort of in it. I said to Dad and Mum after the first show, I said, "You just both made your West End debuts, congratulations." And they find it all amazing and very daft and silly. I always say that we all find it absolutely ridiculous that these shows that we used to put on in 2001 and 2002 are now sort of being broadcast at the Ambassadors Theatre. So yeah, we love it, and they find it all hilarious.
So, this has been your entire life, these videos, your family support and everything. But lockdown of when we had, that COVID thing that everyone keeps mentioning.
I have heard of it.
Yeah,
yes.
just a small little thing that shut the world down. It's
Yes,
no
that's
biggie.
it. Yeah.
This is when the world started to see these videos and your stories, and it was so beautiful. And just some of the videos you create are so funny. So,
Thank
did you ever think that your social media content and you creating funny videos about the shows would have ever taken off like they have?
No way. Absolutely not. No. I was so bored in lockdown, as we all were, and I just needed some creative outlet, and so I turned to Twitter and Instagram and TikTok because that became, I think, for so many performers, it became our sort of stage for a bit. There was nowhere else to do it, so you sort of had to put it online. And I was always writing sketches, and my plan was to, do some open mic nights and test out some material with stand-up comedy, all that kind of stuff. But then COVID happened, everywhere was shut, so I thought I'll just put them online instead. But I never imagined that people would like them the way they did, and that it would end up in a show in the way it has. All a nice surprise, really.
So, my personal favourite ones are when the performer misses the cues because the musical director just goes, and I don't know why, it's just so funny. Do you have a personal favourite sketch that you've done, or a series of sketches?
I would agree with you, actually, if I'm allowed to say that. Because we've all done that, and I continue to do that in my show. It happens every now and then because it's all to backing track. So if my rhythm is slightly behind or slightly too far ahead, I haven't got a musical conductor who can slow me down. So sometimes I'm having to go, what's the next step to putting on a show? Anything is possible. I just find it quite funny.
That's the thing, isn't it? Being on stage and doing shows that you've created as well. Things still go wrong as much as it's in your brain.
Always. That's the joy of it, though. And I think an audience loves that.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. It's like that extra £10 that they've got for free for their
exactly,
ticket, isn't it?
exactly. That
It's
once in a
wonderful.
yeah.
So, speaking of onstage mishaps, has anything happened within the show?
Oh, within my sons are queer, but what can you do? Um, no, I'd say honestly, we've got it all down to it. Lots could go wrong.
Yeah.
It's very, very technical, and every time I feel like I'm tempting fate now, and I'm gonna
I know,
touch.
sorry, I've probably opened up a
I'm gonna
hole.
touch wood. Yeah. Um, no, the whole show revolves around these videos which we project on this massive screen, and there's a lot of lighting, a lot of smoke, a lot of bubbles. So there's a lot that could go wrong, but luckily nothing so far. I mean, things things are different each show dependent on the audience. You know, you can get livelier crowds than the rest, and you can get some people who like to shout out and join in, which always makes me feel better actually, because it feels like I've got someone else on stage with me, and then I can riff a little bit. So it always changes. There's always unexpected surprises, but so far, touch wood, things have gone smoothly.
So you mentioned there, it's nice to feel like somebody's on stage with you. Your show is just you on stage, isn't it?
Yes,
How
yeah,
does
very
that
selfish like
I just never selfish, never darling.
that.
How does that feel? Does it feel slightly awkward? Do you just press play and go? Like, how does that feel?
um Well, I'm basically playing, even though it's my story and I'm there as myself, as Rob, I am still playing a character. I'm playing someone that is a maniac of a director, and I want this show to be perfect. Once you've got a character, you can roll with it as though it's any other show. If I was going out there literally like this, I'd freeze a little bit. So you have to put on a bit of a show, but it helps that I've got the video footage. I feel like it's a dialogue between me and these videos that are played, and I hear my parents' voices, I hear my grandparents' voices on stage with me every night. So it feels like I weirdly have people to bounce off of, and just looking at the front row of the audience, I instantly have something to bounce off of, dependent on their reaction. So it never feels too stilted. And I'm at a point now where I've done the show quite a few times that I'm really quite comfortable in just sitting back and letting people take it all in. When we first started, I was very much like, oh God, I'm the only one. I have to make sure that I'm not boring them. That if you get bored, that's all right. But I don't think
Get
I don't
bored.
I don't think they do. I don't think they do, and I trust myself a lot more now. So yeah, I have a really good time playing with the audience.
Oh, bless you. It sounds absolutely wonderful. So before we leave you to go and do shows tonight to
Yes.
audiences, I've got one final question. Why should people come and see My Sons Are Queer, but What Can You Do at the Ambassadors Theatre?
Well, I think first of all, the word queer might scare some people, and I'm here to tell people that there's nothing to be scared of in that word. It's joyful and it's celebratory, and we're living in a time now which is very heated, where there's a lot of discussion over things that are, really quite sensitive, and people are overcomplicating them, I believe, often people that don't really understand the issues at hand. This show is from someone who has got that experience, and we're simplifying it and making it joyful and funny and celebratory. So if you want a really fun hour where you'll laugh and be taken back to your childhood, please come along. Yeah, it's a hoot, if I say so myself. You'll have a good time.
Well, I'm sold, and I already have a ticket. I'm going to come and see you in a couple of weeks. So I will see you
Wonderful.
then. Bubbles, glitter. I love it. I love it. I will see you very soon. And thank you so much, Rob.
Thanks, Reese. I'll see you there.
My Sons Are Queer, What Can You Do runs at the Ambassadors Theatre until the 18th of March, starring the wonderful and incredible Rob Madge. For tickets and more information, head to www.atgtickets.com.